Hi, Danielle here. Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas celebration, although sometimes Christmas brings out the worst in us and not the best. But I hope in your case it brought out the best. And have a really wonderful New Year filled with health and happiness and resilience. So today, because it's the New Year, and because New Year's resolutions are a big deal for some of us, I thought I would read you a few short stories that I think are gorgeous to possibly give you some inspiration for resolutions in case you wanted to make any. And if you don't, then I just really hope you enjoy the stories. So these are from a book called Body Eloquence by Nancy Mellon. Lovely book, lovely lady. So here goes, I hope you enjoy them. So the first one is called Fences or Bridges. Two friends who had been neighbours for years had an argument and stopped talking to one another. Soon afterwards, one of them found a kind-looking young man on his doorstep carrying a box of tools. "Do you have any jobs I can help you with?" he asked. The man decided to trust him. "See that wide ditch? My neighbour ploughed it deep between his property and mine and flooded it from his upper pond. I want you to go out there and build me a tall fence so I won't have to look at his property any more." Then the man set out to get some supplies in town. When he returned at sunset, his eyes opened wide and his mouth fell open. There, instead of a fence, stood a bridge spanning the ditch. It even had a handrail. His neighbour crossed the bridge with both hands outstretched and said, "What a fellow you are to mend our friendship with a bridge." As the carpenter put his tools in the box and hoisted them onto his shoulder, both neighbours begged him, "Why don't you stay?" "I'd like to," he replied, "but there are so many more bridges to build." Over the years, the two friends took time to cross over and visit each other several times a day and to keep their bridge in good repair. Well, I love that one. No explanation needed. The next one is called Strawberries. Not seasonal, but very, very delicious. Long ago, in the early world, there lived the first man and the first woman. They lived together as husband and wife, and they loved one another dearly. But one day they quarrelled. Although neither could remember the reason later, the pain grew stronger with every word that was spoken, until finally, in anger and in grief, the woman left their home and began walking away to the east towards the rising sun. The man sat alone in his house. The anger left him, and all that remained was terrible grief and despair. A spirit heard the man crying and took pity on him. The spirit said, "Man, I have seen your woman walking to the east towards the rising sun." The man went after his wife, but he could not overtake her. Everyone knows that an angry woman walks fast. "I will go ahead and see if I can slow her steps," said the spirit, who soon found the woman walking, her footsteps fast and angry, and her gaze fixed straight ahead. There was a pain in her heart. The spirit saw some huckleberry bushes growing along the trail, and made the bushes burst into bloom and ripen into fruit. But the woman's gaze remained fixed. Her footsteps did not slow. She looked neither right nor left, and she didn't see the berries. The spirit then caused the trees of the forest to burst into bloom one by one and ripen into fruit. But the woman's eyes remained fixed, and still she saw nothing but her anger and pain. Then the spirit caused a green carpet to grow along the trail, starred with tiny white flowers, and each flower ripened gradually into a berry that was the color and the shape of a human heart. As the woman walked, she crushed the tiny berries beneath her feet. Their delicious aroma rose to her nostrils. She stopped and looked down, and she saw the berries. The woman picked one and ate it, and she discovered its taste was as sweet as love itself. So she began walking more slowly, picking berries as she went. And as she leaned down to pick them, after a time she saw her husband coming behind her. The anger had gone from her heart. All that remained was the love she had always known. So she stopped for him, and together they picked and ate the fruit. Finally they returned to their home with a new taste of peace and happiness. The third tale is from the Brothers Grimm, who you all know, and this version is called The Queen Bee. 3 brothers went on a journey together. 1 younger brother and 2 much more entrepreneurial and enterprising older brothers. Soon their footsteps brought them to an ant hill. The 2 elder brothers wanted to see the little ants scurrying in terror, carrying their eggs away. But the youngest brother said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to disturb them." Then the brothers went onward and reached a lake where a great number of ducks were swimming. The 2 older brothers wanted to catch a couple of ducks and roast them for dinner, but the youngest said, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not suffer you to kill them." So the brothers left the ducks and carried on walking. At length they came to a bee's nest in which there was so much honey it was running down the tree trunk. The elder brothers wanted to make a fire beneath the tree to suffocate the bees and take all the honey. But again their younger brother stopped them, saying, "Leave the creatures in peace. I will not allow you to burn them." The 3 travelers moved on and arrived at a castle where stone horses were standing in stone stables and where nothing moved with life. They went through the empty halls of the castle until they came to a door with 3 locks. In the middle of this door was a little window pane through which they could see a grey-haired old man sitting at a table. They called him once, twice, but he did not hear them. When they called him for the 3rd time, the old man got up and opened the locks. He wordlessly conducted them to a handsomely spread table, and after they had eaten and drunk, he beckoned them to sleep. Next morning, the little old man showed the eldest brother a stone table on which 3 tasks were inscribed. First, find all the princess's pearls. Second, find the golden key to her chamber. And third, choose from 3 sleeping princesses, the one who can best rule the realm. Completion of these tasks, according to the stone inscription, would deliver the castle from its stone enchantment. Neither of the older brothers was able to succeed with even the first task, and both became lifeless stone statues, joining countless other grey statues in the chilly stone halls of the castle. Finally, it was the youngest brother's turn to try the tasks. He seated himself on a stone table and wept, thinking that what his brothers could not accomplish, he would never be able to do either. But soon, to his wonderment, the king of the ants, whose life he saved from his brother's cruelty, came with 5,000 ants, and before long, the little creatures had got all the pearls together in a heap. The second task, finding the key to the bedchamber of the king's daughters, also seemed impossible to the youngest brother, because the key was at the bottom of a lake, and he did not know how to swim. Yet when the youngest brother came to the lake, the ducks he saved from his brother's greed dove down and brought the lost golden key to him. The most difficult task remained, identifying which of the 3 sleeping daughters of the king should be the true queen. The queen of the bees, whose nest the youngest brother had saved from fire, helped him discover the true bride by buzzing gently around the right one's head. And so the whole castle woke up and came to life and was delivered from its enchantment, and those who had been turned to stone returned to life. The youngest brother married the princess whose heart was most pure, and after her father's death they ruled together. His 2 elder brothers married her 2 sisters. And I have one last story, which I think is very cute and probably quite fitting for many of our lives. And it's called Living Under Pressure. A man and his family, or a woman and their family, lived together in a tiny house. The family were always quarrelling from the strain of living so closely together. One day the man could stand it no longer and went to a holy man to ask for advice. "My dear fellow," inquired the wise man, "do you have any chickens?" "Yes," the man replied. "Excellent," said the holy man. "Bring them into the house to live with you." The discomfited man returned home and did as he was told. By the way, sorry for the background noise, but I have 2 very naughty dogs playing at my feet. The discomfited man returned home and did as he was told. Now there were chickens underfoot and eggs in the bed. No one could sleep for the clucking sounds. The desperate man returned to the Holy One. "It was bad before," he exclaimed. "Now it's worse. My friend, now it's worse. My friend," said the holy man, "do you by any chance have a goat?" "Yes," came the reply. "Excellent. Then take the goat into the house to live with you." Amazed at the advice, the man nevertheless did as he was told. And that was the 3rd dog. Oh my goodness. Now he was really in trouble. The goat went wild, butting everyone and everything. At last the man returned. "Holy One, my life is in ruins. Please tell me what I must do." "Do you by any chance have a cow?" inquired the wise one. "Yes," said the man hesitantly. "Then bring her into the house too." Believing now that the old man must be mad, he obeyed nevertheless. That night there was no room at all in the house. The cow could not even turn around. Feathers were in the soup, not to mention what was on the floor. The next day the man hardly dared return to his adviser, but return he did. Before he could speak, the wise man smiled with an infinitely patient look. Go home now and take all the animals out of your house." The delighted man hurried back and did as he was told. That evening, the whole family slept deeply. Returning, refreshed the next day, the man greeted the old master with joy. "How did you manage it? Last night nobody quarrelled. We all slept well. There was so much room in our little house. It was a haven." The Holy One smiled and said with a wink, "Remember, my friend, it could always be worse." So, in that tone, I hope you have a lovely January, although I hope to see you again very soon. So you have a lovely rest of your day. Be well, lots of love, and see you soon.